What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Goodol'boys YouTube channel. So today we're working on this piece of garbage Cub Cadet. Actually, when I say piece of garbage, it's actually a pretty good mower. It's just they've got so many safeties on the thing, it's almost useless. It's constantly shutting off, and the deck shuts off when you go in reverse and all that annoying stuff. And I'm used to zero turns. I'm a commercial landscaper. I help my buddy with landscaping. We ride zero turns, and sometimes you have to back out of a stripe. Knowing that and using zero turns all day long, you can go 15 miles an hour in reverse. It's very annoying when you get on something like this and you can't do reverse while the blades are on. So, all right, enough of that. I wanted to go over what the wires are that come off the motor, and literally you need one wire to run the motor. So of course that doesn't include charging or the PTO, but it's very, very simple to get rid of all the bull crap and make this thing simple so it just runs and it mows. All right, so here's your model number. It's a 2518. Information, there's the information tag there. 2500 series. Here is the information on the engine tag. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the wires. So I have a list of what the wires are and what they do. All right, guys, so let's go over these wires. It is a couple weeks later, so I'm gonna try and remember exactly everything that I did. What I ended up doing was cutting all the safety crap out and connecting the wires in this harness here directly to where they're supposed to go. So basically, the safety stuff has been taken completely out of the loop. So anyways, I did want to show you guys what the wires are, and you guys may have to do some figuring out yourselves. Unfortunately, I didn't have the patience. I had been working on this thing for like a week straight, hours on end, to kind of figure this out. So I didn't have the patience. In retrospect, I should have showed you guys where I cut and reconnected the wires in here. But let me explain to you guys what I've done, and then it'll make sense for you guys, and hopefully it will be a little easier. So right here is our list of all the wires and what they do. So on the engine side, which would be this side of the connector, you've got basically, I think, 4 or 5 wires, 4 actually, or 4 connection spots, I guess. So anyways, the green wire here, back here, that's the oil pressure wire. I decided I did not need that. That connects to the black wire on the harness side, so it's just cut off. The white wire is the ignition cutoff, which is this guy. So this wire goes to your coils. So when you ground this wire out, it shuts the mower off. So this wire here is connected to the yellow wire, which is this guy here. All right. The light blue, which is actually a purple wire, is a charging wire. It goes across the motor over to the rectifier over there. And then the red wire is connected at the same spot this light blue or purple wire is connected. So as you can see, we got a darker blue wire, and then this is the lighter blue wire and that red wire that I'm talking about. So light blue or purple and red are the fuel solenoid, which there's a solenoid on your carburetor that gets turned off and on when you turn the key off and on. And it also goes to, like I said, that purple or blue wire, which is the charging wire. So on the harness side, it connects to the red wire. So like I said, it's a 2-in-1 right here, and then it connects to the red wire. So that's charging and fuel solenoid. All right, now the blue and red. So we got these two guys, the blue and red, so this darker blue and the red connected to one terminal. So one of them obviously is the starter solenoid, and the other red wire, I could never really figure out what it did. But they are connected, so somehow they're related. I'm not sure if it's part of the charging system or what. Anyways, blue-red is starter, and who knows what. So those wires on the harness side connect to this orange wire here. So really quickly, guys, basically all you need to run this thing is pretty much one wire. So I took this connector off and I jumped the starter wires here, and this thing will start up and run. Now, it won't run forever because the fuel solenoid wire is not energized, but it will run. So essentially you only need 1 or 2 wires to actually run this thing. Now, with that considered, I was going to run just 1 or 2 wires to the key switch and figure out how to run it that way, but what ended up being simpler was actually just using the factory harness and chopping the wires that I didn't need. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Basically, the reason why it was easier to just use the factory harness is because it had all the wires for all the accessories, like the PTO and all that kind of thing. There's the lift for the tiller, and the charging system and all that. So basically I would essentially had to run a whole bunch of wires that were the same exact wires that already were on here, if I decided to make my own harness. So essentially what I've done here is I untaped this whole harness. First of all, figured out what everything was. Like I said, you know, that's kind of how I figured out the breakdown on all the wires, what all these wires do. And then basically the most important stuff, the wires that you're going to be chopping, are the orange and the yellow wire. The orange and yellow wires are the safety wires. So let's see. The orange wire is for the starter solenoid. So this is going to go through things like your brake lever, and you know, it's going to make sure the mower's in neutral, make sure the blades are not on, things like that. So if you turn the key, it's not going to start unless everything is, you know, perfect. The parking brake's on, the blades are off, things like that. Now, on the other hand of things here, there's this yellow wire, and it's the ignition cutoff wire. So this wire goes through things like the seat. So if you fall off the mower or something like that, it will kill the ignition or the ignition coils, and then it won't have spark, so it won't run. Same thing if you're trying to start it. If you're not sitting on the seat while you're trying to start it, it won't let it start. So anyways, like I said, orange and yellow are the safety wires. So these more or less pretty much have to be cut out of the loop of crap, and you have to figure out what wire they connect to up here on the ignition. So what I did was, actually on the ignition, the wires are actually the same color. So they've actually done us a favor here. So again, yellow is the ignition, and orange is the starter solenoid. Okay, so pretty much what I had done was I cut these wires off down here in the harness as far as they would go. It was somewhere around here, and I think I did have to get some other wires to solder just to lengthen those, but then you pretty much connect orange and yellow to orange and yellow on the key switch, and that's pretty much it. It's just a straight line from these guys to the key switch, and all the stuff is pretty much cut out. So that's more or less what I've done here to make this thing work without any of the safety features. Now there were a couple other things I did. As you can see, all the wires are cut off for the PTO. Again, I just figured out where I could cut the PTO wires down here and then run them all the way up to the PTO switch. And basically, all the PTO switches now is an off-on switch. So there are 2 brown wires and then this 1 blue wire, and it's just an off-on switch. So it's just a circuit. All this thing is doing now is breaking the circuit. So how I figured this out was with a multimeter. Obviously, I just came in here, I popped this on, I said, okay, terminals 3 and 4 are connected. I've shut it off. Terminals 3 and 4 are disconnected. So that's all I did. I basically just made the PTO switch, or I ran the wires through the PTO switch on terminals that were appropriate. So hopefully you guys understand that. I'm sure a lot of you guys are somewhat familiar with electronics if you're looking to tackle this job yourself. Yeah, for the most part, it's pretty simple. All right, guys, so I just wanted to show you the function of this tractor. It works a lot better. Like I said, no safety crap. Listen closely. I am going to turn the PTO on. Okay, so you guys can hear that. The PTO won't do that as a stock tractor. Now, notice the brake pedal is off, and actually, the cool thing about this is, if you want, you can start the tractor up with the blades on. Also, no safety belt. Again, you can start it right up, not even on the tractor. Basically, it's a no safety tractor. It's so much nicer because you can get on the thing and actually use it. It's just so much better. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out that description box below for more videos like this. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.